and get things going. All right. Well, welcome to Leadership Academy. How's everybody doing? Woo! Better than that. February 7th, and if you're watching the recording, we've got an action-packed agenda for today. I want to bust out your notes and talk about a few things, have some really cool highlights that I'm prepared to discuss and to promote to you all. And for those of you who this is your first Leadership Academy, welcome. My name is Nick Matlack, the Great Plains Division Manager, and could not be more excited. This is one of my favorite meetings to run out of every month, and we are on to the number, I believe this is Leadership Academy number, what? 7? Where are we at? Number 7. Let's check. All right, number 8. We're on to number 8. So 2 more Leadership Academies, and we will complete this year and into 2019 and 20. So really fired up about the growth and the strength of the division. We've got a lot of really exciting things happening right now. And I wanted to start off by just talking about 2019. So in your notes, a few things that I would recommend writing down. First off, we have the Great Plains Division culture, and we are known for having our 4 cornerstones. And I talk to this to everybody frequently. And when I came out here 3 years ago or just under that, there were 4 things that I wanted our division to be known for. So I want you to give yourself a rating in these so far for the first 6 weeks of the year. Number 1 that you can write down is we are going to be known for work ethic, and we're going to be known for outworking the competition, working harder than everybody else, right? I will take somebody who has a work ethic over somebody who has talent any day. So again, number 1, how hard are you working? And when it comes to work as a rep, making a lot of calls. When it comes to work as a manager, getting lots of recruits and booking lots of PRs, and nothing else matters, right? Making sure you know your one thing. As a rep, if you make a ton of calls, it's almost impossible to fail at this job. As a manager, if you book a ton of PRs, it's impossible to fail at this job, right? So again, are you actually putting in work, or are you just staying busy, right? You got to put the priorities first. Number 2 that you can jot down that I wanted to be known for, so I want to be known for being consistent. I want to be known for the organization that works a year-round business. We don't just pop during those gold periods and then we go away, but we're the organization that's constantly putting up great numbers, and the power of consistency in a business like this, nothing is more important. So just always making sure that you're moving your business forward. Third thing I wanted to talk about is the fact, and I wanted to be known for, is I want to be known for always showing up. I want to be known for having a great integrity. And we've been having some coaching calls, and we've been having some people that join and are guest speakers on some of our DM staff meetings. And one of them was Evan Keller last week. And Evan said, the sad part about life is that if you just show up, you'll beat 95% of the population. And in this business, it doesn't really take much to beat the average or even the above average rep other than just showing up, right? So again, what it comes down to is feelings versus facts. Are you actually showing up to the schedule that you made for yourself or you made with your manager, or are you letting your feelings get the best of you and just going off of how you felt that day, right? People who do what they feel end up not doing very much. I think that's a pretty true part of life. And so don't be the person who's just going off of feelings. Go off of facts. Make a decision in advance of what you need to do, and then show up to those decisions day in and day out. And if you want to win in 2019, it's just winning every single day. Fourth and final thing that I would be known for is having a lot of fun. And so when I think about the organization, I think about the culture of Great Plains, I want to be known for making sure we outwork everybody, we're always consistent, we show up even and especially when we don't feel like it, and we have fun doing it. And if you're not having fun, you're doing it all wrong. If you have challenges and adversities, have fun encountering and leaning into those. If you have things that are fears that are holding you back, have fun, right? Overcoming those. But remember, if you're not having fun, something must be wrong, or you're not the right fit for the job, or the job's not the right fit for you. So find something different, right? And I really hope that's not the case. When I think about why we're going to win in 2019, I've got 5 things I want you to write down. And again, these are not our cornerstones of our organization, but this is what's going to get us to $3.5 million. This is what's going to help us win the year. Number 1, teamwork. There is no I in team. And it's about showing up because you know that your hard work is a part of something bigger than just yourself. It's about knowing that your sales make the difference. I think about last year in the South Best region. We had a boat year, best of all time. But we only had a boat year by a couple $100,000. And we finished over $39 million. So you could justify that any one day or one rep or even one office was the difference of having the boat year and not. I think about 3.5 million, and it's going to come down to that close of a race, guaranteed. Second thing you can jot down is individual excellence. It's about beating yourself. It's about running your own race. It's about progress, not perfection, and it's about becoming the best you. Individual excellence. You know, the question that I ask myself frequently is, what would the best version of myself do right now? And am I doing what the best version of me would do? And oftentimes the answer is no. If I have to ask that question, that's exactly why I'm asking that question, right? So I need to realize that and go ahead and maybe reprogram what I'm choosing to do. The third thing would be your growth mindset. Are you growth oriented? When you have challenges, they're not failures as long as you learn from them. Growth is uncomfortable. Growth is outside your comfort zone. And growth is hard. That's why most people don't want to do it. That's why most people are satisfied. Most people are average and normal and living lives that are not very exciting or exhilarating. I don't want to be average. I don't want to be normal. I don't think you do either, and that's probably why you're involved in our organization and watching this recording. The last two things, constant improvement every single day, saying, hey, am I performing at a higher rate than I was yesterday? You know, and I get it. I think about physical growth, going to the gym. Going to the gym the first day is easy. The second day is harder. The third day is worse. And by the time you get into the first week, it starts to build back again. But man, that first week, every day you're more sore. Every day you're less excited about going because of the fact that it hurts. But that is constant and never-ending improvement, right? You're never too good to learn. And something I learned early on from Vector Marketing is that every person is your superior in some way. I might be the person at the lead of this organization because I've been around for 13 years, but that does not mean that I'm better than you. It means that I might be more experienced when it comes to knife sales and vector marketing and recruiting, but it certainly does not mean that I'm a better person than you are, right? If this were a different type of topic or this were a different type of organization, you might be at the front and I'd be in your shoes. So again, always looking to grow and never being satisfied or complacent. The fifth and final one that I have is to win every day. Win every day. Right? And I have something called a WOD. I know that's silly, but WOD stands for win of the day, right? W-O-D.
That sounded so weird.
So I want you to think about, what is your WOD of the day? Every single day, you should look back at your day and say, what was the way I won? When I put my kids to bed at night, I always ask them two questions. The first question, hey, what was the best part of your day? Because I want them going to bed thinking about what went well, not what went bad. And the second question I ask them is, what are you looking forward to tomorrow? And every night when I put them to bed, those are the two things I want them thinking about before they go to sleep. You know, the only other question that I should probably ask a little bit more frequently is, what was the biggest thing you learned today? And yesterday I had a conversation with my son about the importance of not lying. He lied about just eating chips, which was a really stupid lie, but his consequence is that he got no more chips for the week. So I don't know if you know my son, but he loves chips, and that was a very big consequence for him. And he cried about not having chips at the age of 10. But I told him, now it's chips, and soon enough it's going to be cars and relationships and jail time. And I'm not okay with that. So I need you to understand that if you're lying now,
From chips to jail,
here's the deal. Listen to what I'm about to say. How you do something is how you do everything. And if you learn those habits at a young age, those will continue with you for the rest of your life. And it is my responsibility as your father to make sure that I instill good habits and good human traits within you. And I'm not okay with you having those little white lies. So again, how are you going to win in 2019? And I think that's what you need to write down. What will 2019 be for you? When's the last time you look back at that list? Right? Is it going to be your best year ever, personally, professionally, financially? Is it going to be, right? You're at the beginning of your story. You know, I think about years past in 2006 and 2007, and I look back at those years, and some of those years were the most challenging years in personal life, professional life, sometimes financially. But you know what? They were also the years that got me to where I am today. And so many of you don't know that what you're doing now is going to influence the rest of your life if you're really serious about it. And with a business like this, regardless how January went, which in our division, we were down, right? That does not dictate or influence who you are or what you're capable of in February, March, and the rest of the year. Cool? So let's dive into our agenda. The first thing we're going to talk about is our branch income. We've got a topic all about PR name collection. We're going to watch a video on that in a sec. We have Campus Relations Manager Amanda Sahana talking about high school focusing, and then we will wrap up with our office searching preparation and be done by 6. So we got an action-packed agenda, and I don't want to waste any more time moving forward. So let me exit our full screen right now. I'm going to drag over our branch profitability, and for those of you who are not running a branch, the goal would be, when can you run a branch? And it is never too late to be trained up for that, and certainly you have the opportunity to be able to jump into it. For those of you who don't know what a branch manager is, a branch manager is somebody who runs an office for the course of a summer. Basically, right after finals and right around the beginning of May, we go ahead and get a 3-month short-term lease. You open up your office. We give you $3,000 for mailers and advertising. We give you $5,000 for operating expenses, and you get to open up, recruit the heck out of your territory, run that all the way through till August, shut back down, go back to school, and your reps get transferred to a year-round office and continue to sell. By the way, you basically have the opportunity to open, operate, and close your own business at a young age for a $250 million marketing company. You can only imagine what that would look like on your resume for anything that you want to do in your future. So what I want to talk about is the importance of understanding how to be profitable as a branch manager. Now, I ran my branch all the way back in 2007, and when I did so, I ran in Amarillo, Texas, and I was one of the top recruits in my division. They thought that I was going to do so well that they gave me Amarillo, which was a district territory of 500,000 people. I was really good at sales. The reason I was going to do well at branch in my head was that I was good at sales. If I'm good at sales, I'll be good at teaching sales, which is certainly not the case. And when I went out there to run my branch office, that is not what happened. I ended up having a lot of adversity, and the main reason that I failed is that I tried to make everybody succeed. I gave people that were not worth that much time a lot of time, and I avoided people that were doing okay and not giving them more of my time. And what I learned is that in a business like this, it's not the right job for everybody. So you have to focus on your top 20% because that top 20% is going to do 80% of your business. I was talking to John Giacchino, who ran a top-level branch last year. He's going after a Silver Cup this year. And when I was talking to John, we started to look at branch income. We started to look at branch recruiting numbers. And I don't know if you know this, but the number one branch from last year, nice haircut, Arham, was out there, and he ended up having a total last year, right, of only like 35 recruits. But with only 35 recruits for the whole summer, his office sold over $200,000. Why? Because he was really intentional about getting the right people, not just getting a bunch of anyone, right? So there's lots of different ways to run a branch office, but I want you guys to really think about this. So what I'm going to talk about is the branch profitability model, and I want to look over this. You know, first off, if you look at the branch profitability model, we're going to talk about your expense breakdown. I want you to look at the difference in goals projections with recruits and sales. And so if you look at the top, we have the low, the medium, and the high. I would say it's a pretty low recruiting model if you're up here recruiting only 25 people. I think that you actually have the opportunity to recruit 50, and honestly, on the high end, 75. Anything over 75 like contracted recruits for a summer is incredible as a branch manager, because most branch managers are only going to run a total of about 8 to 10 training courses throughout the course of the summer. And so if you're recruiting 75 or more, that means you're launching 7 to 10 people every single week, all the way through until the end of July. That's a pretty big deal. We think about the profitability when it comes to goals with sales, right? You look over here, 40,000 on the low end. The incredible thing to me is that you can still be profitable with only a $40,000 branch. Now, would that be your goal? Heck no. I would never let somebody open up a branch office if they're not at least thinking 50,000 or more, right? And if you think about 50,000, well, there's 18 weeks throughout the course of the summer. So 50,000 is only about $3,000 a week, right? $3,000 a week, by the way, is only about 2 average orders a day. So when I think about that, it's just not that hard to get that to happen. I mean, listen, we've had representatives in one summer sell over $40,000 by themselves, right? And so it's all about, again, that top 20% that produces 80% of the business. When I look at the medium, we look at about 80 grand. You run an $80,000 branch, and I'll talk about profitability at the bottom, but you're going to make some really significant cash. It's pretty exciting. And on the high end, $150,000. By the way, 150 grand is over the 125K mark. If you don't know, every year our company has a trip. Last year it was to Munich, Germany. This year we're going to be going to Cayman Islands. Those of you running an office currently, for next year's trip, we're going to Paris for an entire week. Can you imagine that? A company paying for a free trip to Paris for 7 days, right? That's like a dream destination. I know that people from my parents' generation saved for a decade just to be able to take a trip to Europe for a week to a place like Paris. And we get it for free because we worked hard for 1 year. And in a branch example, you worked hard for what? Well, you had to go through Leadership Academy, so 1 time a month, but you really only worked hard for 100 days, right? And I think about the summer being a 100-day sprint, 100-day marathon. It's all about making every day count. And I tell people all the time that one day in the summer is like 1 week in the non-summer because it's so intense. So let's talk about income. When it comes to income, you look at $7,600 on the low end because you make a different percentage on reps. And for those of you wanting to know, how do managers make money, right? You might be new right now and you're looking at that. Well, when a rep is making, right, 10%, right, and they're on the low end, well, the manager's making the other amount of money, right? And every time they go up by 5%, what do you think happens to the manager's money? Well, it goes down by 5%, right? Because Cutco's the same price no matter who sells it. So again, every time a rep makes more, the manager ends up making less, right? And once you get to the 30K mark, that's when the rep now has the opportunity to make the bonus money and the manager does not. And that's the difference between new recruit business and old recruit business, is who is eligible for the bonus cash. Does that make sense? So just keep in mind that we say 19% here, mainly because most of your reps are going to be new recruits, and most of the time you're going to average about 19%. Now that's not perfect math, but that's the way it would break down. So 19% of 40 grand, 7,600, right? 15,000 off of 80 and $28,000 off of 150 grand. Now, some of you might look at that and be like, that's all mine. Well, yes, but you still have to pay bills and have taxes and things like that, right? So again, that's not your actual profit margin, but it's nice that that's your overrides. When it comes down to your personal sales, I got to remind you that for all of July, all of August, and all of September, a total of over 90 days, you get direct 50%. No quota, no bonus, no waiting, no at the end of the month. It is legit 50%. You sell $500, you make $250. You have a $1,000 order like a homemaker, we put $500 on your next check. It is freaking awesome. So think about this. When you run a branch office, even if your branch totally tanks and it doesn't go well, but you know how to sell a lot of Cutco, starting in July, we pay you 50% for 90 days straight. Can you imagine that? Right? Last year, we had Logan sell 18 grand in those 90 days. So he made $9,000 because he chose to take the risk of running an office. Really, there's no way to lose money unless you literally choose to just not show up, right? And so there's no risk. And that's incredible to think about, the experience that you gain, the free $8,000 and the no risk. Pretty exciting. You look at the fact that we've got, right, that is true no matter what. So you fill in the red line, right? But then when it comes to mailers, we give you $2,500 and again, $5,000 for operating costs no matter what. So on a low end, right, you'd be making 15 grand in overrides, 22K on the medium, and 36K on the high level. So let's talk a little bit more about this, right? Personal sales needs to be a must. If you're running a branch office, selling Cutco for July, August, and September is a non-negotiable. And the more you can sell, the more that you can make during that time. And you've really got to be intentional about it. So put down a sales goal now. Last year, can't promise it for the future, but they did a kicker. And in the month of August, if you sold $10,000 in 5 weeks, we still let you go on the trip for 50%. So we have Logan going to Cayman Islands this year, and his branch didn't sell near enough to make the $125,000 quota, but because of the kicker, he sold over 10 grand during that time, and so he's still going to Grand Cayman for 50% off. That's pretty awesome. You think about this year going to Paris, doing the same thing. I want 100% of our branch managers earning Paris this year, and I want 100% of our district managers earning Paris as well. I want that to be part of our identity and culture. If you run an office, right, then you win the trip. And that's just a non-negotiable no matter what. So let's talk about expenses. When you look down at the expense part, advertising. Well, web newspaper ads, right? We really don't do newspaper anymore, but all of our online advertising, that does cost a little bit of money. It's not $500 all at once. It's small charges that happen month by month, but they typically add up to about $500 for a branch. Craigslist ads, depending on the territory, almost all of them are paid now, but about $250 for the whole summer. Flyers and posters, these are the flyers that we hand out on campus, the posters that we hang up. That's around $150 a piece. Company mailers, well, we've given you the $2,500. We plan to spend all of it. You'll notice that for bigger territories, sometimes the manager will choose to throw some of their own money into that. I know John Giacchino did that last year. I know I personally spent an additional 10 grand last year on mailers for my territory, but it certainly paid off. I got John Giacchino, who became a $38,000 rep his first summer, ran a $90,000 branch, and now is going to go second-year branch. And yes, you better go district, John. I'm just kidding. But it's definitely paid off for me, right? The next thing that you want to look at is the phone, right? And the internet, we got to pay for that to make sure that we have Wi-Fi access. Oh, again, sometimes you can get it for a lot cheaper than that, but that's pretty normal. Web PDI, 0. A lot of top managers will want Web PDI. I want to make that a program, and Web PDI for a branch manager for the summer is $180. So I would actually add that to these other columns, but this is a for instance. Recruiting, text to schedule. Well, the nice part is we don't pay for receptionists. When I ran a branch back in 2007, I had to hire, recruit, and train my receptionist, and then I had to pay them hourly out of my pocket, $9 an hour, plus I had to pay FICA. I blew like $3,000 to $4,000 on mailers. That's why I barely made a profit of 50 grand. Nowadays, $500 for the text to schedule, and you are good to go for all of that coverage. If you didn't know this about our text to schedule center is up in Michigan, and also in Michigan, our text to schedule center has 24-hour-a-day coverage 7 days a week, which is incredible. And compared to paying somebody hourly for 8 hours a day, right, we get 24-hour access and coverage. Man, that is a freaking steal. So you look at company literature. This is for blue books, rope, leather, order forms, right, folders, supplies, things like that. You know, it gets more because you're recruiting more, right? So it's all scaled. You look at office supplies and printing for copies and other things in your office. Again, more recruits, the more you need, but the bigger team. Fast Start Awards, if you didn't know this, the manager only pays 10% of the retail cost for Fast Start. So let's say the Fast Start prizes are $1,000 because they sold 10 grand. Well, we only charge the manager $100 for those, right? So wow, what a steal, right? We're really hooking you up. Next big thing you look at is the minimum profit. That is the base pay. Again, more reps means more base pay. If you're really good at training and you're really good at eliminating no sales, you probably won't add nearly as much base pay that you have to pay out. If you really suck, you're getting first weekend pop. Hey, that number is going to be higher, but these are pretty exact averages when we look at them. Contests, if you're running a low-level branch, you probably didn't have enough reps to build contests with. If you're running a top-level branch, you'll spend a little bit more money, but be careful with the contest that you're offering and always get consult like from me first. Conferences and company trips, there's a couple of events that you go to, and again, higher priced based on those events. The reason this is lower is because you're probably going to win things like Paris for free or at a higher qualification level, so you won't have to pay as much out of pocket. Weekly meetings, right? These are like food for the meetings, snack bar, pizza, things like that for all your training. So that's where that stuff goes. Lunch and meals, taking reps out for donuts and coffee, you know, Sonic drinks. Again, you don't have to spend a lot, but all of that stuff adds up. So we want to put it somewhere. Next thing is you got professional fees. This is to have a P&L from Rising Stock, non-negotiable in our division. Sample kit charges, right? You might lose a few kits. If you lose a kit, you get charged $50 for that kit, not $100, not $400, lucky you. But the goal is to try to get them back. If you ever get charged for a kit and you get it back, you get the refund, which is pretty cool. Last couple things, office rent, right? Well, bigger territories demand more money. I've never had a branch lease that I haven't been able to get for $3,000 or less, and most of them are around $1,500 or $2,000, just depending. So that's something to think about too. Office setup, you look at, you know, this is just for some furniture or a TV or whatever you may need, posters and supplies. And then, of course, you need office insurance because you're a legitimate tax business, right? So if you start with your profitability off the top and you subtract, right, all of these things, this is your net profit at the bottom. So even at 40 grand, you have the opportunity to still come out 5,600 ahead, right? At an 80 grand office, 9,300 ahead, and you have the potential to have $20,000 saved. Now, that's before paying your business expenses, but you're only open for 3 months, right? I doubt that would be a lot, and you would still make some significant cash. The one thing we haven't added in is you personally selling 5, 10, or 15,000 at the end of the summer and making 2,500, 5 grand, or 7,500 bucks. So a couple of things, and this is true for district managers, this is true for branch managers, anybody and everybody that is looking at this. And I want to make sure you guys write these things down in your notes. These are going to be keys for what affects recruiting, right? And big, big things that you need to be looking at. Well, first off, you need to put down in your schedule Facebook Jumpstart. And if you are not doing Facebook Jumpstart right now, that needs to be an immediate thing that you get on. You need to go to facebook.com. You need to search for something called Facebook Jumpstart, and you need to get with the program. I am going to be putting in a tracking sheet on our Google Docs soon, and every week I need you guys to be filling that out. I know that I talked to Claire recently. She listened to all 3 of the first audio files, and every day she's spending 30 minutes a day friending more people from our territory up in Edmond so that those people can be messaged starting on April 1st. When it comes to Facebook Jumpstart, now's when we're friending and creating our great profiles, and starting on April 1st, we are going to be messaging 50 people a day every day for a total of 50 days. And when you think about that, that means that our average manager will be sending out 2,500 messages to the best of the best and sharpest recruits in their territory. And those reps are the highest productivity per rep that we have nationwide. So we got to get with that program, and that's going to be a major game changer. Second big thing you can write down is start recruiting in April. Right? What's the deal with opening a branch? Well, you might not be open till May, but you can start recruiting in April. You can start running steroid and virtual interviews in April, and you can set those people for your first training after finals coming up in May. It's never too early to start recruiting. I know in John's case, he lives in his territory, so he actually started recruiting and running trainings on his own that were counting for the pilot, and then those people transferred to his office, and those became some of the best reps and influences for his summertime program. Those of you that are going to be AMs, we need you guys building up a big list of all of your friends so we can start to recruit those people in April, and that way, by the time we get to May, our recruiting is off the charts, right? Which would be really exciting. Third thing that you can write down that really affects recruiting in a big summer is it's all about steroid PRs. What is a steroid? A steroid PR is when we sit down with somebody one-on-one and we have their friend with us. It's more of a social conversation, much less than an interview. And we just want to talk to them, get them to know them better, and offer up the opportunity. If they like it, sweet, let's set up training. If they don't like it, sweet, they'll still be friends and at least we got to talk to them, right? But it makes it feel more special. It makes it feel a lot more exclusive, and it makes those people feel special. You know, some of our sharpest kids from our top private schools, those are people that don't have any interest in coming in for a professional interview and sitting through that video, right? But they'll definitely be motivated by coming in for a one-on-one meeting. Sometimes we incentivize it with food. We'll even meet them outside the office at Starbucks or Chick-fil-A or things like that. So if you haven't watched a steroid before, you definitely want to jump on and get with that program, no doubt. The fourth one is PR name collection, right? Being really, really good at giving people confidence and permission to recommend a bunch of friends. A couple numbers that I would write down. In an interview, I want my average applicant to recommend about 10 people. Now, 1 out of 10 is going to give you none, kind of like recommendations. 8 out of 10 will probably get you what you ask for. So we should be saying, hey, the average person writes down about 7 to 10, right? And then 1 out of 10 will give you a ton. You know, I love having contests. I love having a board in my interview room that says most names referred from one person, right? And then have people try to beat that. And when we get into the high school season and these mailers, they are so competitive and they just want to beat their friends. I don't know if you've ever been to like a piano bar before, a dueling piano bar, but a lot of times what they'll do to make a lot of extra tips is they'll have a board and they'll write up a team name, right, of an NFL team or a college team, depending on where the piano bar is, and they'll say, hey, $20, right? And we will write a different name on there. And obviously, you know, piano bars, a lot of people are drinking, so people are a little bit different in their dynamic, but pretty soon people will pay $30. And then to erase that name, they have to pay $30. And then a higher incentive and higher incentive. And by the way, high school students, same way. Now, don't make them pay any money, but you could put the high school name, right? Number one, most amount of names, 31 from a student from, right, Edmond North High School. And then anybody that's not from Edmond North is like, I hate that team. They're our rival, right? I'm going to recommend 35. So whatever you can do to drive those names. In training, we should be averaging 100 names. So those are the two averages, 10 on average per applicant in an interview and 100 names per trainee in our training class. So how good are you at your stump speech? How confident are you with collecting names and so on and so forth, right? I think that's very, very important. Cool. Last couple of things before we listen to our video right now is I want to talk about, okay, a few last tips. The next one is culture, right? Massive recruiting comes from culture. And I want to have a culture of friends of friends of friends. I want to have a culture where people love this team. They love what it's doing for them. And all they want to do is get more buddies onto the team as we move forward. And I think that's a really big thing for us for sure. All right. Last one is successful reps and rabbits. And I've talked to Bailey about this. When we get off to good starts for the campaign, it's all about getting a rabbit. And last year, Bailey did a phenomenal job when we looked at April. We started building up in April, and we wanted April to feel like May. And the moment we got to the end of April, we got our first 10K fast starter, and that was Isaac Ballweber. And that became because of Anna Groeschel. And Anna started the right trajectory, and Anna was a PR of somebody all the way up, right? Or sorry, Danica, and she was a PR of somebody all the way up in Alaska. So it doesn't matter where people live, they can recommend friends, and then that can create the trickle-down effect. But the moment we got Isaac, we got our first 10K fast starter, and we ended up having over $100,000 new business May, and that led us to our biggest summer of over $420,000 in new business for the summer. And this year, we plan to destroy and dominate those numbers 100%, no doubt. So what affects your sales, right? Well, a couple of things. first weekend, first promotion. And I would write that down. You got to get reps to sell $1,000 in their first 3 days. How do you do that? Well, it's very simple. Number one, first demo, first sale, non-negotiable. Second thing is best two on their first night. Third thing is first set sale, first weekend, right? And the last thing is they've got to make sure that they show their best what? 5, and they complete 10 appointments. Now, I know right now that might sound challenging, but in the summer, with the way training runs and advanced training, right, they definitely have plenty of time to get that done. They're not in school. People are more available on the weekends, and there's no doubt that they can work hard. Most of them are looking for full-time income anyway. Fair enough? All right, fantastic. Another thing that affects PPR is newsletter culture, right? Having standards. We say 1K is okay, 2K is good, 3K is great, and 5K is baller status, right? So creating that type of culture right off the bat, promoting it in interviews, training, PCs, PDI, team meetings, right? But you want to make sure people are tied into that. And honestly, selling $1,000 a week, guys, it's just not hard with Cutco and the prices that we charge, especially with our payment plans, right? And the last big thing is master of push weeks. Master of push weeks. And I'm going to be talking about that coming up at the division meeting. I've got some announcements to make. I'll leave it at that are pretty exciting, and those are later on tonight. So very fired up about it. So what we're going to do next is we're going to dive in to talking about our next thing, and that is going to be PR name collection. You know, we have something called SLC. It stands for Strategic Leadership Development Conference, and I guess SLDC, but we call it SLC. And last year it happened out in Hollywood, California. And I will tell you that this is where the best of the best nationwide come on a main stage. And many of us remember this. Some of you have not seen this before, but this is by a guy named Brian Hurlman. And we'll get this on recording. But Brian Hurlman has the most fire message I've ever heard about training name collection during your training course. So here it is. You guys can check it out. And then we'll dive into Amanda's message in just a sec. So here we go.
Started from scratch January 1st is at $750,000 in new business for the year. What if I told you that office was in a market that was well known as a tough recruiting market? What if I told you that office did $1 million in total business this summer? What if I told you that office recruited 200 people with a PSM and no staff? You'd probably ask how. And the answer lies in this message. But my challenge as a speaker is that this is a very easy message to tune out of, especially if you've been at a couple of these SLCs before. How many of you, by show of hands, this is your first SLC? Beautiful. How many of this is 5 or more? You know, Bruce began with truths, and I'd like to share another. When it comes to PR name collection, there is no such thing as a diminishing law of return. The more you put into this, the more you get out of this. And I truly believe that there is a single skill set that you can learn and implement immediately to see impact in your business. This is the one. I'm going to talk about the build-up. I'm going to talk about the delivery. And I'm going to need your help when I do so, because I'm going to need you to be my training class. Can you guys do that for me?
Yes.
Excellent. I'm going to talk about the contest, and I'm going to talk about the close. Much of PR name collection happens outside of the message, outside of the training talk, as much as it does within the training talk itself. Pre-training conversations are, without question, my favorite place to plant seeds. When you have an organization that is built heavily on the PR program, everyone that's coming into a training knows people who are already on the team. And so conversations will sound something like this. Hey, so Katie, your friend started last week, huh? Have they told you how well they've done? Yeah. I think Emily sold over $6,000 her first 10 days. She made over $1,000 in income. It's pretty cool. And actually, she gets a little bonus recommending you to the job. Talks about our program. I'll tell you about it later. It's our advertising bonus program. Sweet. Simple seed plans from the beginning of training. Your intro talk. You're going over the schedule for the day. You say, hey, today we're going to go through some opening comments. I'm going to walk you through the presentation. By the end of it, you're going to know, by the end of today, you will know 90% of the presentation. We're also going to talk about value. We're going to talk about price and their relationship. We're also going to do some scheduling. You set up your first week. Tomorrow, we're going to optimize some custom fees. We'll talk about how to turn in orders, how to get recommendations. We'll go over the Fast Start contest and our advertising bonus program. They are hearing this seed plan as many times as I can possibly get it out there prior to the message, the pay review. Great. And then the Fast Start talk. Consult your DVM.
Sorry.
I will tell you this. I am a huge believer in the fact that the Fast Start talk should be placed directly in front of the art talk. And the reason for that is because in the Fast Start talk, first of all, you're creating a lot of energy in the room. Secondly, you're getting excited about all these prizes, and you're immediately tying that right into, hey, empty out your cell phone. Don't leave anyone off. So the Fast Start talk in front of the PR talk and training is a critical placement to maximizing name collection. Now, delivery. So, training class, let's pretend that I just unveiled the Fast Start contest to you, and I need your participation as we move forward. Can I get that from you all?
Yes.
So, training class. I told you you're going to be fired about that Fast Start. But what if I told you there's a way that you can make that easier for you to hit? You want to hear about that?
Yes.
Can I get a tell me more, Brian?
Tell me more, Brian.
I'll tell you more. Okay, anyone here competitive by show of hands?
Woo!
Excellent. You're going to love this. So, ladies and gentlemen, who can tell me what is every company's biggest expense? It's advertising. Right? And we have a lot of different ways that we advertise, and I have job openings here in my office. I advertise on every job website you can possibly think of, Monster, Employment, Guide, whatever. I advertise with Craigslist. You never know what you're going to get from Craig. We advertise by putting signs on the side of the road, going to college campuses, writing on chalkboards. But by far, the most common way that people hear about the job is just like all of you. By show of hands, if you were recommended to the job by a friend, raise your hand. Yeah, just like all of you, this is the most common way people hear about the job is through a friend. And why is that? It's because birds of a feather flock together. And you guys are going to get some serious hats. And you have friends that are going to do the exact same thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, our mission is to build the biggest, baddest organization in the history of the company. We want to build a record-breaking organization. And big armies beat small armies. How many of you guys have seen the movie 300?
Yeah.
Those dudes lost. Why? Because they were fighting the 10,000. Why? Because they were fighting the 10,000 deep Persian army. We want to build the 10,000 deep Persian army of Cutco. So, that being said, what I can tell you a way that you can make this fast start contest easier to hit. Would you want to hear about that? Can I get a tell me more, Brian?
Tell me more,
I will
Brian.
tell you more. Ladies and gentlemen, what it really comes down to is the fact that this is how every organization finds their best people. When the Golden State Warriors lost to Cleveland, what do they go out and do? They got Kevin Durant. When Facebook wants a new programmer, do they put an ad on Monster.com? No, they go to their employees and they say, you are the best programmers in the world. Who can you recommend to us? So in your phone, on Facebook, on Snapchat, on Instagram, there are three groups of people. There are people that you know and you talk to all the time, people that you know pretty well and you don't really talk to, and then people that you don't really know and you don't really talk to and you don't really know how you got their phone number. What percentage
really important to write down. Those of you who are not taking notes, really important that you write those down. These are phrases you should all be using, right?
Because you never know who's going to do well. You never know who's looking for a job. You never know who's looking for experience, who needs an internship, who hates what they're doing. You never know who needs to build their skill set. I want everyone. Because again, we want to build the biggest, baddest organization in the country. So, what if I told you I was going to give you a Porsche or a Mercedes-Benz to recommend people to the job? How many would you recommend?
All of them.
Everyone. Everyone you ever met in your entire life, even if you hated that kid and got in a fist fight with him yesterday, he's going on the list. Okay? So what if I told you this? What if I told you every one of your friends that you recommended to the job that I liked and I gave the job to, what if I told you I was going to give you $500 in credit towards that fast start contest? Would that be cool?
Woo.
You're damn right it would. You have 5 buddies who I like and give the job to? That's like selling $2,500. Now, I don't do that, so don't get too excited about that. What if I told you instead of $500, what if I told you it was $1,000 credit for each and every single one of them? Would that be exciting? Well, it's like that's exactly what I do. Andrew Mosier last week put $12,000 in his fast start, had 3 of his buddies in training. Boom, $15,000. He just qualified for our region trip to Cancun, Mexico. You sell 10K in your first 10 days. You have 5 buddies who start the job. Boom, you qualify for our region incentive trip. Now, what if I told you I was going to spin the deal even a little bit more? We want to hear about that. Are you going to tell me more, Brian?
Tell me more, Brian.
Now, when you think about things like, how many people did you graduate high school with? 600? You have friends on Facebook, thousands of them. How many Instagram followers do you have? How many views does your Snapchat story get? A lot. Okay? So I'm going to make these levels really easy for you to hit. The first one is a gimme level. Okay, 50. 50, I'm going to give you double credit on everything you sell tonight. You want to sell $1,000 tonight? It's like selling $2,000. Okay? 100, I'm going to give you double credit on everything you sell tonight and everything you sell tomorrow. You sell $2,000, it's like selling $4,000. 150, I'm going to give you double credit on everything you sell tonight, tomorrow, and all day Sunday. The most over 150 is going to win the Fishman solution. Now, here's all you need for this. Pull out a pen, a clean sheet of paper, and your cell phone. Do not start writing until I tell you to go. Number your page 1 to 30, but don't start till I say go. Wait, hold your horses. Wait till I say go. Okay. Now, here's the deal. Doesn't matter where the person lives, because we have hundreds of offices all over the country. The person has to be a senior who has graduated high school, and that's it. Again, who do I want? Everyone. Okay? Listen, Joseph Cost was recommended to the job by a kid named Jacob Milburn. He was on his wrestling team. He hadn't fought in 30 years. He was on a cutting board and quit the job. But that's how Joseph heard about it. Make sure everyone. We want everyone. Don't start right until I say go. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little race. Okay, anyone here competitive? Okay, it's funny. Shit. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Have this Veggie Peeler. This is our legendary Cutco Peeler. Okay?
I love Brian. This guy's fire.
Using this for the first time is this close to a religious
My
experience.
blood's pumping right now. I'm like, I'm ready to write down names.
Okay. Now, this peeler is worth $50. You can sell this thing for cash this weekend, pay for all the gas that you needed coming to and from training in your first couple demos, or you can give this peeler away to one of your best customers to get a ridiculous amount of recommendations. I would do that. We're going to race to 30, but don't start till I say go. If I see you start early, I'm going to DQ you. Don't start. Okay. Your marks, it's set. That's the PR talk. Now, as far as delivery goes, you can tell that it's centered around energy. And here's the tip. If you feel like there's not energy in the room, you need to manufacture that energy. Okay? If I ever have an ed training class, I'm like, all right, cool, we just won't do the fast learning advertising bonus program for you guys. You have to be like, what? Okay. Or, get out of your chairs. Come on, stand up. Everyone do this. Stand up for me real quick.
Stand up.
Come on, right now.
Stand up.
Training class. Excellent. Give someone a high five. Tell them to have a fast start. Do that now. Go.
Have a fast
Have a fast start. I can't stand.
Give someone else a high five. Tell them they're a rock star. Do that now. Go.
You're a rock star.
All right.
You're a
Now
rock
grab your
star.
hand. Are you ready to hear about the Fast Start program and the advertising bonus?
Yeah. You can have a seat. He said
That's the
you weren't
SLP
listening.
energy that we
Tell me more, Brian.
Tell me more, Brian.
bring the energy from the message. Key analogies. Making sure that this feels normal to people, right? Hey, does Facebook go and advertise on Monster.com? No. They work with the best computer programmers in the world. They say, you guys are the best in the world. Who can you recommend for this opening that we have?
Are those you?
When Golden State lost, the players went out and recruited Kevin Durant so they could go on a run of championships. Key analogies. 3 groups of people. This is such a big part.
3 groups of people. Jot this down.
3 groups of people on your phone. On Facebook, on Snapchat, on Instagram, there are 3 groups of people. People that you know really well and you talk to all the time. People that you know kind of. You know them pretty well, but you don't talk to them super frequently. And people that you don't know and you don't talk to, you don't even know how the hell you got their phone number. What percentage of those people do I want you to recommend to the job?
All of them.
All of
All
them.
of them. We want to build the biggest, baddest organization in the country. 3 groups of people. Who do I want? We want everyone. A race to 30. It's very funny when I do this race to 30, right? I have a very specific song that we listen to every single time that we do this. And as people are riding, I'm creating competition. I'm like, oh, this is going to be close. Hey, as soon as you hit 30, you better yell it out. I swear, every week, this is literally separated by seconds. As soon as you hit 30, yell it out. Now, the race to 30, at the end of it, they're like, what are we doing with this? Are we turning this in? Right? We don't do anything with it. Why do I do the race to 30?
To prove them that they have
Create
that many
energy.
people.
It creates urgency. It creates competition. And what it does is it gets them writing every single name. Every single name. That's the mission here. So the race to 30 does nothing but creates urgency, creates that competition. It gets them writing every single name. Race to 30 for a particular people love it. Now, as soon as they hit 30, what I say is this. How many of you would like to not have to handwrite the rest of this? Would that be cool? Okay, sweet. Pull out your phone. That's what I do. The PR app. And I go through the app screen, settings, general, device management, right? The whole 9 yards. So the PR app, I make sure that you're using the slides. If you don't have it, talk to your DVM. They'll hook you up. And then after the app, so what we do is I do the PR talk. I say, hey, when you get to this screen, and what I mean is the screen, the first screen that pops up that has everything checked already. When you get here, someone let me see your phone. And I'll take the person's phone. I'll say, okay, now you see how they're already checked? Because it already knows. Who do we want? Everyone. Now, here's who I don't want. I don't want your mom. I don't want your dad. I don't want Verizon Bill Pay. I don't want none of those. Keep those out. Keep everybody else in there. Even if you don't know them, even if you're not sure how well they're going to do, even if they have another job, it doesn't matter. Keep them all in there. Okay, and once you get to the end, I want you to you're going to click next, and you're going to yell out to me what that number was. And so the first person does it. Normally the first person does it, and it's a big number because they don't care. They're doing everybody. They're like, but 200, like, that's the number to beat. Everyone's telling them now. Now, if someone says something like 60, it's not right. You, what? What's your percentage?
People don't like you.
Right? And normally if it's 60, it's like 40% of their contacts. I'm like, you're telling me that 60% of your contacts are your family? Come on, bro. Go back in there. Let's get the rest of it. Right? And we'll put them back into the app, get some more. Once we finally collect, I get that number. As soon as they yell the number out, I say, okay, now go see Joseph. Joseph's in his office. Rep goes into his office. They take a selfie in his office. And he directs them to do the star. That's our process. And there's a line, outside of Joseph's office. It's awesome. The contest is simple. Race to 30 for the legendary peeler. I know this sounds trivial, but the build-up for this peeler is so important. Okay, you want people fighting to win that damn veggie peeler. The way that you do that, by the way, is go off on it early in training, really early in your seminar. Okay, as soon as we get to it on whatever it is, page 1 of the training manual, I go nuts about that veggie peeler. Okay, they're using the veggie peeler during our cutting clinic. Like, do you see how ridiculous that peeler is? Okay, get people fired up about that thing. The race of 30 for the legendary peeler. Here's our contest. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm saying this is what works really, really well for us. 50 is double credit day 1. Now, one thing I'll say during the mess in the PR talk live, it's 50. What I'll say is, and by the way, all I need is the person's first name and phone number. I don't even need their last name. All I need is the person's first name and phone number. I don't even need their last name. Right? 100 fast start credit days 1 and 2. 150 double credit days 1, 2, and the most over 150 is the Fishman solution. Here's the key to the Fishman solution. I'm that sucker out at the very beginning of day 2 of training and sell that thing as soon as people are walking in. I take it apart, I show how it extends, it bends, the whole, I cut the paper. People go nuts about it. Nuts about it. It's not a market thing. I mean, it doesn't matter where you live or where your office is located. You can get people started about that Fishman solution. And it's like the easiest thing to get people started about because there's so many features. So you go nuts over the Fishman solution. And then here's a little something extra. And we do this to launch campaigns. This isn't something I extend for the entirety of the summer, but at the beginning, when I want to get into the McLeans and the Langleys and the Bishop Iretons, right? When I want to get to my best public and private high schools, the C-note is the way. I go, almost time. After they've met with those, I go, okay, that's on the PL. Do you know anyone that wants to McLean? You know any people from Alexandria public schools? Okay. So yeah. One of those schools, this is a way that we're able to get the best schools into the best markets very, very early in every single one of our campaigns. So that's the contest, the close. And I really feel like this is what creates PR culture. This is what creates PR comfort. And this is what creates the next batch of launches that you get from this PR name collection to do the same thing that this group is doing, which is emptying out their entire telephone. The close is super simple. Say, hey, training class is already submitted, thousands and thousands of names. Say, hey, I want to take a moment. I want to just thank all of you. And the first reason I want to thank you is I want to thank you for building our team. You know, the bottom line is the bigger and the stronger the organization is, the more fun it is to work here. We want to create a preeminent employment opportunity for young people in the DC metro area and the DMV. I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you building the team. But beyond that, I want to take a moment to thank you for possibly changing someone's life. I was born and raised in Royal, North Carolina. My mom's a school teacher. My dad didn't have a job for the majority of my life. This is what helped me create financial independence at the age of 18. My brother was able to put himself through college selling Cutco. This changed my life. It changed my family's life. It changed my brother's life. Joseph Goss's mother is an immigrant to this country. Single mom, raising 2 boys. Joseph and his brother just bought their mom's house. Joseph was recommended to a guy that put a putting board and quit. And so I know this is kind of heavy for training, but I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you also being willing to really change someone's life. Because at the end of the day, that is why I do what I do. You shoot for the heart right after this message. What happens is it creates this feel that people are excited and appreciative to recommend people to the job. You go from the, he just wants all of our friends, to the, whoa, this person genuinely cares about the impact that's being made. You have to feed the machine. These are the steps. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what I will say. Over and over and over again as managers, we preach to sales reps things like, you got to have pages 8, 9, and 16 memorized. Right? Call in for PDI. Do all these things. Here's what I will tell you. I firmly believe that the PR talk is your pages 8, 9, and 16. Never again as a manager are we allowed to look a sales rep in their eyes and tell them to do something like memorize 8, 9, and 16. We don't have this portion down. And you can also use things like Snapchat and other things like that to pop up your name list, your PR name collection. Real serious damage can happen. What I'll tell you is, with a sales manager, in a brand new market, we were able to make some magic happen. And without question, in my opinion, the number one reason was because we were able to average 200 plus names out. So let's elevate this fundamental. Let's recruit. Let's change lives. Thank you guys very much.
All right. Very cool. So,
hey guys, my name is Trey Ketchum, and I'm the division manager for the Greater Georgia Division.
Oh, that's nice, Trey.
Excited to share some thoughts I have for you today.
I don't know where Trey is.
The amazing recruiting opportunity that we have currently in our business. And,
I said stop share.
The title of the message is Launch and Reload. And you know,
this is
we've
fun.
been privileged in our business to have a lot of advancements in technology and
Trey, where are you?
That have enabled us more than ever to be in control of our own recruiting destiny.
Well, that's not
excited
good.
to share some of the things that have enabled our pilot office. For the
this is also a good message, but not what I wanted to have happen.
Business and be amongst the leaders in the vector marketing landscape as a recruiting leader and sales leaders on a year in and year out basis. And before I get into that, I really want to share with you, the concept of tying our boats together.
Bring your shared window to the front.
Sure that we partner together as an organization. We partner together as
I found you, Trey.
Entrepreneur.
Ha! Gotcha. All right. Hey, there we go. All right. Now we can stop our share, and we can get away from Mr. Trey. Life is good. All right, that was fun. So some big things that I hope you understood, right? First off, man, some things you might want to highlight there, right? What was the commitment and the connectivity, right? And the firing up and stuff like that, right? Pretty exciting. Also, just the amount of conviction and belief that he had in the confidence. And then a lot of the phrases. And again, this is being recorded so you can look back on it. I'm going to stop our recording right now. We all need to go to a website I just posted out on the division group me. Text me if you need it, but it's tinyurl.com / RMD meeting. So tinyurl.com / RMD meeting. We'll be on there for 45 minutes. We're going to listen to Amanda Sahana. She is starting right now with her high school message. I just emailed out all the documents, so check your email for those. And then at 5:45, we'll be jumping back on for one last topic that we'll be covering and all of the details to finish things up. So thank you guys. I'm in the meeting now. Jump onto that, and I'll see you back at 5:45. See ya.